Hello guys, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel. My name is Z, lawyer, YouTuber, and all-around amazing woman. Subscribe to my channel. This will be the video that make you hit that subscribe button. Property purchase is the easiest way people get scammed of their money in Nigeria. It's safe to say that a lot of people who you thought would never get scammed actually have fallen victims. I tell you, you have a situation where 10 people, 12 people, 20 people all are claiming ownership to one piece of land and all have different titles to that land from one person. How is that possible? I'll tell you all about it in this video. Now, the very first advice I'll give to you is never pay in full for your land purchase until you're sure about it. Now, how do you go about that? The very first thing to do is at least pay 30 to 50% of the purchase price to the purchaser, wherein you have a purchase agreement drafted to that effect, wherein a clause is drafted that you are paying part payment for that piece of land, subject to the agreement that if you take over possession, which you are supposed to take possession immediately, that is, if you exercise acts of ownership in the land and then no adverse claim is made by anyone, no matter how flimsy the excuse or the claim is made, then you pay the purchase price on the completion of, say, 10 days, 30 days, or 20 days. Like, you have a good deal. So within that 30 days, within that 10 days, you start exercising acts of possession, like clearing the place. I wouldn't necessarily say fencing, because you have to get fencing permit to be able to do that. So just start off by clearing. Then you see that some people will actually come out and say, oh, hey, this is my property, or this property is in court, or this property is something or somehow. Then that way you know that at least you've only paid 10% or 50% or 30% to this person, and it's still easy to get your money out, as opposed to paying 100 million, 80 million, 150 million to the person, and then you're swamped up with a whole of litigation against you on that piece of land, and then getting your money back, I tell you, will be the hardest thing to do in the planet. Now, the second set of people you want to settle are the people they call the Umunnas in the eastern part of Nigeria, or the Omoles in the western part. I don't really know what they call them in the northern part of Nigeria, but these are the people you want to settle. The Umunna people are people who are said to customarily or culturally be the owners of this land. But like the Land Use Act to say, all lands in the state belong to the state government. I do not understand why, after you have paid so much money for your land, you still need to settle Umunna. One thing you don't want to have is having people disrupting your building. I mean, you can wake up in the morning and realize that your 2-story buildings are knocked down to the very ground. Yes, it's that bad, because these people do not take no for an answer, and every kobo counts for them. Settle the Umunna people, settle the Omoles, and have a smooth selling. Let's talk about the monsters called the development companies or authorities of each state. For instance, here in Owerri, where I reside, it is called OCDA. Now, these are the people that you want to settle before you start fencing, before your building plan takes up, because I mean, you do not want to see this on your piece of land when you wake up, or it is that your land or your fence has been demolished. I mean, a bag of cement today goes for how much? You do not want that sort of waste on your land. So the very first thing you want to do is obtain all permits, all approvals, all permissions from the monster we call OCDA, and the likes of them, depending on the jurisdiction where you reside or where you intend to build at that point in time. Fencing permit, everything, just know that you need to pay up and pay and have your receipts all laminated and kept at the site at every point in time. It is best to have them at the site than in your home, in your closet, or wherever. These are the people you want to set. Now, you don't want to get caught up in the doctrine of lease pendants. Now, what I mean by lease pendants, it's pending suit, a subject of a pending suit. Now, the easiest way out of this is to ensure that you do your due diligence. Ensure that that property, that land, that building is not a subject matter of a pending suit. If, for instance, a lot of people will tell you, yes, you can buy a land that has been a subject of litigation. It's not a bad title, to be honest. It's not a bad title. But one thing is, you must make sure that it is not a subject of a pending suit in court, or not a subject of an appeal case in any court of law in Nigeria. Now, another thing you want to do is decide what you want. There are properties that are called buy and wait properties. There are properties that are called buy and build. Buy and build properties are properties. Hold on, my phone is ringing. You know what you're getting yourself into. You don't want a situation where the property you purchase is a buy and wait property. In that way, what I mean by buy and wait is that the development there is not so much, so you have to wait for a bit of things to like come up in place, or for things to like set up before you're able to like have move in or reside in such places, because I mean there are places like that. So if your intention is to buy a property that you just build and then you move in, ensure that you know what you're doing, what you're signing up for with your agents, because a lot of properties that are buy and wait properties are a lot cheaper than buy and build. So you know when someone is offering you a land of 250k, that is going to be inside the bush. Do not expect to be in the heart of a city or the city center with your 3 million naira budget, with your 2 million naira budget. It's not going to work. In this time and age, understand that lands that are going for 250,000, 500,000, 800,000 are going to be in thick bushes, thick villages that you do not even understand. But if you're going for buy and build, then let your budget be somewhere within 10 million, 25 million, 100 million, depending on the current value or the market price or the going price at a point in time. So be sure to have that sorted out. Now, ensure to know the kind of lands you're buying. Never buy a land that is committed, land under acquisition. Now, these are lands owned by the government for specific state projects or federal projects. These are lands that you do not want to acquire. Why? Because it is only the government of the day that can revoke such lands, and such lands are usually earmarked for projects such as maybe future estates, road projects of the rest. So when you buy that property now, and usually they'll come to you at very, very juicy prices, so you begin to wonder if something is too good to be true. Your honesty is actually too good to be true. So when they come to you with such lands, you understand that yes, you might actually end up buying it, and then nobody comes to disturb you for the first year, for the second year. But what if the government comes after 25 years to acquire that land? I tell you, this is what is actually currently going on in places like Lagos. Yes, places like Lagos had that happening in Abuja. So most times when the government doesn't, if the government is lenient enough to be able to allow you still own that property or still enjoy possession of that property, they ask you to come and do land rectification. Now imagine paying the current value of the land you purchased 25 years ago, 30 years ago, taking in mind or bearing in mind the level of appreciation that happens with lands in every part of the world. Lands never depreciate, they only appreciate. So lands that you bought, let me say 2 million naira, 4 million naira 25 years ago, today will be going for 100 million, 50 million, 30 million. Now think about paying that amount of money and then taxes and going through all the rigorous process of having that rectified and having everything put into place. You do not want to have that sort of hustle. So please ensure that you're not buying lands that are committed or they are under acquisition by the government, because you will be buying a land without title. Next thing you want to do is ensure that you're not buying a land that is against the town planning or the master plan of that place. Some people will sell railway lines to you. Some people will sell Coca-Cola lines. Some people will sell electricity lines to you. Ensure that when they are bringing all those juicy prices to you, that you are sure doing that. The only way to get that sorted is to do a survey. When you have the survey plan, this is what the land was earmarked for. Please, please and please, lands are not things that you gamble into, because you are going to be tied in years of litigation. And litigation is not as juicy as you think it is. Litigation can span as high as 10 years, 25 years, 30 years. You are still struggling. You might even die and your son will now take over the land. He will die and your grandchildren will take over. You'll die and you're still looking for land that you never got to enjoy, that your children never got to enjoy, your grandchildren never got to enjoy. Ensure that at every point in time you have a lawyer who is at your beck and call. I mean, at your beck and call to give you legal advice, as opposed to going into it with your blind eye. Because at the end of the day, the amount of money you spend in litigation will be ×2 of what you will have paid the lawyer ab initio to help you decide whether to buy or not to buy that piece of land. Now, before you purchase that piece of land, be sure to do your due diligence. Ensure that you are buying from the right owner, and ensure that if it is a family land, you are buying from the head of the family and principal members of the family. Otherwise, just like the law says, you cannot give what you do not have. And like the Igbos will say, Anagwa onye ntishi si ara esule. That is, when war comes, you need not tell a deaf man that the drums of war are already beaten. And many more are all I have for you today in today's video. Now I'll be taking you through some of the services we offer, that is project management or project supervisory service. Is do well to check the next clip. Ensure to send me a DM or an email to get you started. Until I come your way next time, remember to subscribe, share, like, and remember that Z loves you. Supervisory angle of the brand Z on Demand. Here we bring you aerial shot views of your projects, whether ongoing, completed, or even before your land purchases. Now, gone are the days when your brothers, your sisters, or even your business counterparts will want to rip you off of your hard-earned money. I do know how hard it is to earn even 1 cent, so I would not approve of anyone ripping you of your money. Now, this is why we have provided this package to bring you up to speed with your supposed project here in Imo State, Nigeria, and even in any part of Nigeria at large. If there's one thing we're going to promise you, it's confidentiality. Your projects are well safe with us. Another thing we promise is quality content, clear, crisp pictures of your project, your land purchases, or even your completed projects. And we also promise speed. Your videos will be made available to you 2 days, yes, 48 hours after the site visitation, provided that you have paid in full and subject also to the availability of your pointer. So yes, go ahead now, hit that subscribe button, send me an email or send me a DM on Instagram.